Any
Well,
guesses for a weapon before we get there?
well, we got the bow in the last race that I commentated, and bow is my favorite starting item. But I can't guess bow 2 times in a row. So this time I'm gonna say the hammer. How about you?
Hammer. I'll go. You know what, Cannaberna. I haven't seen Cannaberna in quite a while, so that's my guess.
Oh wow, you have no love for the runners today with a burner start.
Yeah, it's one of the rougher ones, but I don't know. I just haven't seen it. I want to see it. I want to see how you do it when you're good at the game.
Yeah, it's not so bad for escape, but it just doesn't give you much to work with afterwards. Fire rod is that's decent. What do you think about fire rod?
Fire Rod is one of the safest starts, I think. The hammer, you know, you have a lot of room to miss, but that's also a bit riskier because it clinks off guards. Fire Rod, there's not a lot of execution to be had there. You have X shots, everything dies in one hit. There you go. I like it.
Yeah, the only concern with the fire rod is you have different enemies have different prize pools. Sometimes bombs can be pretty deep into a prize pool, so it's do I spend all my magic killing green guards? Do I save some for the rats? Kyong not gonna have to worry about that. Ozzy is gonna have to face the dilemma that we always have to discuss: bomb farming and escape.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out a good strategy for that, especially with a limited weapon like the fire rod. Ooh, hello book. Typically, what I like to do myself is just right here, when you're going down to these blue guards, there's a pot. You can kill one of them very easily and check that. And the green guard in the room for the key, you also have to kill to progress. So you can get a decent idea of what each enemy has if you actually spread out your attempts to kill them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think to keep in mind that prize pools are randomized in between seeds in addition to enemies. Last race I commentated killing that blue guard gave both runners an 8-bomb pack. Basically means you're kind of done for escape. But you can have lucky seeds, you can have unlucky seeds. We were talking a little bit earlier about open mode versus standard mode, and standard mode at this point really is, what do we find bombs or not? That's basically all it is. That and waiting 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Bombs are just so important because the way the logic changed, you actually get a light cone in the escape sewers now, so the back half of the escape isn't actually locked by gloves. In previous versions of the randomizer, it was, but so you don't want to be in a scenario where you can't get a bomb and then you have to walk all the way back through escape to get the 3 items potentially, because it takes a little bit and it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, if you get a glove, they can at least take a shortcut there, but that can also be risky if there's 2 gloves in the game, and that ends up being, your second one. It means you could be a little bit less likely to head back there. Really depends on player to player. But I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on getting a book early? Do you do an early pedestal check and get it out of the way?
In this scenario, if you have the book before you go into Lost Woods, or if you find it in Lost Woods, I think you should absolutely check that. It does take a bit of time. Maybe you can risk it. Like, it's very rare that pedestal is actually required, but you have the opportunity now. And if it is a pedc, that can also really shape your routing to be more efficient. So I think you probably should. How about you?
Well, I think this kind of falls into the same school of thought as people who will check the lumberjack ledge. Some people won't go up there until they get the boots. They'll route it in with their bonk rocks check. Other people like to have the knowledge. Personally, I'm of the school of thought that always knowing the knowledge is valuable. So I'll do graveyard ledge. Sorry, I'll do lumberjack. And in this case, with the book this early, I would also check the pedestal. If it's garbage, that let's say you go into Palace of Darkness, you get your 5 items, and it's going to be a map on Helmasaur. You can save yourself a minute and a half there. You just say, I'm never going to need this item. Somebody without that knowledge might have to take a gamble.
Yeah, it lets you avoid the risk like that, which I really like. It doesn't pay out most of the time, but the times it does, like that can just win you a race off of that. So I think it's definitely worth the time investment.
especially if you're, if you're at the vanilla mushroom spot doing a normal haunted woods check, it's not too much more time, and I actually think it can be a little bit faster as well, because if you come down to the well entrance at Kakariko, and you have the bombs, then you just go directly into the well.
Yeah, you can definitely head out that way as well. Ooh. Oh, Ozzy getting the bomb right here. Just some blue mail back there. But that's still really nice to find.
Yeah, basically the last place you could potentially get the bomb, once you go through that block, that's a one-way block. So if they found it in the next room, you don't even have the option to backtrack.
Just having that out of the way is going to be a really nice feeling for us. So you don't have to worry about that in the back of your mind. So maybe I should go back. Maybe I'm losing time checking all the stuff. Lots of bomb capacity upgrades for all the bombs we don't have right now.
Yeah, we can hold 25 bombs now. Unfortunately, with no bombs, we're not going to do that really efficient well routing that I was talking about. If we get bombs on the tree pools or the bush crabs, that's going to be really fortunate. Otherwise, we're going to have to purchase some bombs in Kakariko. Fortunately, we have the money for that. Let me ask you a question, Mally.
Mary?
If you go into Kakariko and you have money but you don't have any bombs, do you gamble the well or Blind's Hut, or do you just say, I'm going to just go buy about the bombs first?
Usually what I'll do is if I can check Sick Kid, I'll check Sick Kid, and then I'll check the tavern, just in case there's 3 bombs there. And then if I don't have them... Ooh, there's a sword in Lumberjack Cave. If I don't have them at that point, I'll just buy them, because I don't like to have to run back up there, personally. How about you?
I like purchasing them as well. You can get lucky in the well, and it's always a little frustrating. You buy bombs, you drop down the well, and the first chest is 3 bombs. But yeah, I say just it's better buy them than backtrack.
Yeah, that's the worst feeling, buying them, and then first chest and Blind's Hut, it's 3 bombs. Like, all right, okay, game. Sorry, I couldn't figure out what you were saying.
It's a little unfortunate to see the sword up there on the ledge. I cannot imagine any scenario where the runners are going to kill Aga just for that sword, but if they kill Aga for Dark World access, they'll most likely go back and get it.
Yeah, I think even going from Master Sword to Tempered, you come out even in the best case scenario. We do see our pedestal is just couch cash, so won't be required, but that's still really nice to know.
And both runners opting to get both of those pieces of knowledge, so that's really valuable. It can, sometimes having too much knowledge can be a little bit overwhelming if you're a little bit inexperienced, but if you have the knowledge down and the skill rather, and you can keep track of sequence breaks and everything else, then it pays to get that out of the way.
Kyong is taking the gamble in the well. Ooh. Well, now they can run all the way down super fast to get bombs.
Yeah, both of them taking the gamble in the well. No bombs here, so no immediate advantage. But those boots basically make it a moot point because it's kind of fast.
Yeah, boots can even save you bombs down the line. Isn't that nice?
That's true. We have we can get the library item immediately, but if we do the race game, we can bunk that wall and save a bomb.
Yeah. So Ozzy is not prepared to go buy bombs immediately. I'm going to be checking the free locations just as a last resort, I guess.
Well, this is what you recommended, and it does make sense. If you find the 10 bomb item here, which is the the V29 specific potential weapon, then you can skip the bomb shop altogether. Even a triple bomb would let you get through the well, the hut, and the chicken, and maybe you'll find more bombs in there.
Yeah, that's a really nice feeling when it does happen, because at this point in the seed, you still are going to need money potentially for a lot of things, and if you can minimize the the times you have to spend that, it's really good for you in the long run. And even if you find 3 and you have to buy them anyway, that's fine. Mini Moldorm Cave probably is made a lot easier if you have 10 bombs. There is a bomb shop near Link's house, so you can save and quit and then grab it there if you feel like it. Getting our first look at blind set now, though.
Given the fact that they can hold at least 25 right now, and they have so much money, buying an extra 10-pack wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, we did find a sword and a moon pearl on blind set, so first sword's always nice. That's when we get to Dark World, I guess we can complete Skull Woods.
Well, I was thinking about all the issues that you'd run into having to do mini Moldorm and with bombs being your only weapon, but with the sword at this point, those 7 bombs are going to go a very long way.
Yeah, you could just stop to save them all and fight mini Moldorm with the sword. It's a bit riskier. They can do a full heart of damage and knock you into a pit for 2 damage, but a decent heart count right here off the bat, so not as big of an issue.
Yeah, it's fairly healthy, at least early game, and they already have the blue mail as well, so that's going to contribute to their their overall damage reduction. The biggest issue with the fire rod as your starting weapon is there's not too many places that you can get magic. The boots open up a few spots, bonk trees and such, and of course you can always buy potions once you get a bottle, but none of those are good options.
Yeah, and a lot of the bonk trees that have the full magic are kind of out of the way. Like there's one above the Dark World portal in Kakariko, but that's quite a detour for magic.
Yeah, I've actually seen a couple people route in particular boss fights specifically to refill their magic before they could go to other areas.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. If you know you're going to be doing something anyway, sequencing it in the right way to get that magic refill can save you a decent chunk of time. And that blue mail is going to be really helpful because South Shore is actually pretty dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous spots in Hyrule. I don't know if you know this.
Because of all those dangerous crabs.
There's some bad dudes down here. They all have the snippy snips.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but answering a question in chat, will Game 2 be after this one? I think that Game 2 is tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe Game 2 will be tomorrow at the same time. And then the third game, if we need one, will be the day afterwards on the same time. So that's what we know.
This is definitely not a doubleheader today.
Ooh, well, we magic right there. That's a really convenient spot. Yeah, it would have been nice, I guess, to get that if we didn't have a sword, since Fire Rod. For one thing, it refills your magic, which is always really nice. And then it makes Fire Rod a lot cheaper to use.
Yeah, 16 Fire Rod shots. You could, even with bad aim, you can get through Mini Moldorm Cave. Fire Rod has a very nice hitbox.
Yeah, especially if you opt to go across the pit and do it vertically instead of horizontally. It's very hard to miss. Ooh,
it's basically the anti-hammer when it comes to hitboxes.
Yeah. Well, we did find a glove, so we're one glove or a hammer away from Dark World access.
Yes, we're also a lamp or a sword away from Dark World access if you want to take the Aga route.
Does anybody ever want to take the Aga route?
No, that was a hypothetical person out there, somebody who's just really hates themselves.
Yeah. Well, I guess one sword at Lumberjack reduces the chances ever so slightly.
I could always get a lamp and a cape. I'm just trying to keep things bad.
Alright, well, we do have the boots in this. Ooh, yeah, Kyong setting up the water walk. This is always really nice when you find the boots this early. Like, we do have the Moon Pearl, which makes our fake flipper a little bit better here, but setting up the water walk just makes checking Hobo so much quicker.
Yeah, so he's not doing the fake flipper, which would give him the buffered water walk, so he could get the Zora's Ledge item. This one is just going to let him get Hobo. There's our third sword on the Hylia Island.
Wow.
But yeah, they're both doing the water walk. Ozipone, if you go on the stairs with the your sword out and you see you're moving faster, then you know that you have it buffered. He's going for the double buffer.
Ooh, yeah. So this is something you don't really see very often. Going for the double water walk just in case that sword's ledge item is required. So that'll be very interesting.
Yeah, basically the way that this works, what Ozipone is doing is he did the fake flipper, but he also has another fake flipper buffered. So when he jumps down from a ledge, as long as he's going directly down and not to the side, he will land on his feet. So if he fake flippers up, you know what? He said, "I'm done with the double buffer. I'm just going to run faster."
All right, I guess that's fine. That's what you want to do.
But the way that would work though is you could basically swim all the way up to Zora and get the item, and then jump down and land and be able to get the ledge item.
It's rare that you get the chance to set that up, but when you can, it's really, really nice to do. We do find the bow and the waterfall bushing, so those were behind the flippers.
Yeah, I think basically if you see the ledge item is something very, very valuable, you can go back and set this up. It's less likely to see it get set up initially. This is very odd, though, for both runners to opt to fake flipper to find the bow. They both probably feel that they're a little bit ahead at this point for doing the sequence break.
Yeah, potentially. I guess there's also the scenario where you just expect your opponent did this as well, because we did find the boots and the moon pearl early. Like, finding moon pearl, maybe some runners still skip that, but like, we found all that money early. We found the boots, so it's a little bit quicker to actually check hobo. So, ooh, Kyong. I like it. Going to desert. So it's asking.
They're both going to the desert.
Oh, we got everything for it. I don't see why not.
Yeah, so the desert requirements are the book to enter, or the Titan's Mitts, the flute, and the mirror to enter. Once you're in, you need a fire source to light the torches in the back, a glove to lift the stones in the back, and you may need the boots to knock the item off the torch. And they have all of those items, so they're good to go. This is a full clear, and this will get both players their first crystal.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other play that might have been tempting was Eastern Palace, but I don't know. Desert doesn't really get much better to route in. Like, you have to have a lot of things lined up for you to get more convenient to get in here and do your stuff. So getting out of the way, I approve.
Well, Desert has the two items here, as well as the ledge item and the Aegina's Cave item. So it's 4 items here. Eastern has more items. You get 3 in Eastern Palace and 3 in Sashirala's hut. Although that's still a sequence break without the lamp. So if they can find the lamp here, that's going to make that one slightly easier. Yeah,
we also have to keep in mind that the bow was locked behind the flippers, and flippers has a high chance of being required. Well, I guess when we have 3 pendants in the Dark World, technically that's not true, but it's still good to keep in mind, just in case.
Well, the bow is gloves on the torch.
Ooh, it's just got interesting.
So the desert was not boots locked, but the torch was absolutely needed at some point in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough time trying to clear the game without the Titan's Mitts.
Sorry.
Not bad.
I was just going to say that the bow is required in 100% of your seeds, regardless of what your skills are. So we know the flippers have to show up somewhere prior to the top of Ganon's tower. Even if we have ice and swamp as pendants, we're still going to need the flippers in order to logically get that bow. Given how few things the bow locks, it's not a difficult sequence break to keep track of, but I do agree with what you're saying. They got it through a sequence break, so maybe we'll check Desert first.
Yeah, if you're going to sequence break, it's sometimes very important to keep in mind where your item falls in the chain, because if the item that locks it ends up being required later, if you sequence break, you can potentially get a lot of progression. You might be looking in places where your item actually can't be. So keeping in mind where the things you found were can speed up your, acquiring that item by quite a lot.
Well, the bow is a nice one to find in a sequence break because it only blocks Armos Knights, Helmosaur, and the 2 right side chests in Palace of Darkness. Everything else is still open, so there's only 4 locations that can't hold the flippers due to that sequence break. That's pretty easy to keep track of.
Yeah, and the other
something else. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was something else, like the mitts or the hammer that opened up many more locations. It would be more difficult to keep track of.
Yeah, absolutely. The mitts is probably one of the worst things you can find in sequence break if you're trying to keep track of that stuff. The other nice thing about the bow, finding that in sequence break, is because it's perfectly possible that the logic would intend you to go to those places, like Pod or Eastern, and find the thing that leads to the bow. And you don't have to worry about that if that ends up being the case, because you already have the bow. You can just complete it while you're there, and it's no big deal.
Exactly. If we do go into Eastern and we find the flippers, then you know that the game intended you to double dip that dungeon. Just like Dark Rooms, if you can avoid double dips by your ability to execute well, you're going to have an edge over any opponent that purely follows the logic in most cases.
Oh yeah, and the lamp, this Rando likes to put the lamp in some really mean spots. Like it will put the lamp in some really obtuse item chains. So being able to do Dark Rooms is almost required, I would say, at this point, if you want to do well like this level.
Yeah, there's I've seen many seeds that people have done the Dark Rooms and they've been very close matches, but the logic has required you to double or triple dip multiple dungeons in order to actually pick up the lamp. And if anybody did that, there's no way it would have been close.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We have Kyong coming over here to the eastern area. This is also... Ooh, Ozzy's going to King's Tomb right away.
This is a first divergence, a minor one, but it is our first divergence. Just finding rupees there.
Yeah, it's good to keep the Titan's Mitts in mind because Titan's Mitts opens up so much. If you're a firm believer in item chains, checking the locations that the Mitts opens up for you immediately can give you a big edge in the event that it does actually have progression.
Yeah, some people will try to save Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb for to loop in with a Graveyard Ledge check if they get the mirror later on. But there's the Ice Rod and the Bonk Rocks that may or may not be required. We don't know what the Dark World crystals are yet.
Yeah, we do not know. I'm sort of meh on the looping in Graveyard with the Bonk Rocks and stuff because that's a lot of mirrors, and that takes a long time. So...
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. If you get the mitts and the boots this early, and you have Light World access, I think it's actually quicker to check them in, check them now. But here's Turtle Rock is a crystal, so that Ice Rod is required. Pendants at Pod, Misery Mire, and Ice Palace.
Yes, indeed. So good to find that. Did you see what the other 5/6 crystal was?
I missed the other 5/6 crystal. Ice Palace was a green pendant, but I missed which one was the red crystal.
Oh, we'll get that figured out for you soon. So Ozipone not wasting time coming into the Dark World. Ooh, Flute and Eastern. This gets better and better.
That's interesting. He hasn't been over to Kakariko again, so if he comes over here to do the Skull Woods Thieves Town check that we're seeing now, then he'll be able to activate that without having to make a backtrack.
Yeah, and that does open up the Mire Shed right now. You have to be thinking about that.
They both might be... if they didn't find the mitts where they did, then they might be slightly regretting that desert play. given that flute makes it a bit easier to get over there. But desert paid off very well for them.
Yes, indeed. So, got a big key now. The dark rooms in Eastern are fairly simple, especially with blue mail and not this many hearts. It's actually a very safe dungeon, and when you got sword and boots to help guide you through them, it's just like free, basically. You might as well have the lamp.
Yeah, ozipone got wall mastered there, unfortunately, so I had to go backtrack here a little bit. But this room that Kyong's in, if you had the fire rod, just 2 fire rod shots down the middle, or 1 to either side, and no more dark room.
Yeah, fire rod also makes that room free pretty much. So we did find the mushroom in the big chest in Eastern, and with the flute, that's not going to be hard to turn in at all.
Yeah, the question with the mushroom is always, do we save it for a fake powder if we get the King of Samaria, or do we turn it in immediately? And that really comes down to how many items are outstanding, players' personal preference. Maybe they'll do a saving quit and turn it in, planning a hard reset. Mushroom has a lot of metagaming around it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyong saves and quits and applies that immediately. And if it's something that they don't want or need, then saving, like hard resetting, to keep it for later for that potential fake powder sequence break. Hi, Ether. Well, now my looking real nice, I guess. We don't have the King of Samaria for it, but the Mire area grows a little bit in value now that we have a medallion. Now it's upon taking out Mothula Erupt at the same time.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if Kyong, does the boot spots and then heads into activates his flute and then also does Skullwoods and Thieves Town. That's 2 more crystals. So, Ozzy is that'll be 4 for Kyong and then 3 for Ozzy once we finish Thieves Town.
Yeah, the scary thing about Thieves Town right now is we don't have the hammer. So if there's something in the big chest, that's going to be annoying, to say the least.
Well, that's a really good point. With the flute and how easy it is to get back to 3, especially having the midst as your Dark World entrance there, it would make a lot of sense to check the 3 Village of Outcasts chests. Do Deacon Game, grab a frog, and then do Southern World Tour, hoping you find the hammer along the way. Because you can get back to Thieves Town easily enough.
Yeah, it's really easy with the fluid and the mitts to get back there, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Kyong opts to do. And it's extremely likely that you're going to be checking the south side of Dark World anyway. So if you can use that in a way that will potentially improve your chances of having the hammer in Thieves Town, so you don't actually have to leave anything behind in that event, I think that's probably the smart play.
Yeah, that is one mistake that a lot of people make. Well, some people will put off Thieves Town for too long, and it's an easy dungeon to do. But some people will also head in there without the hammer, orphan an item, and if there's a lot of other checks and it's easy to get back to, like it is with boots, the flute, and the mitts, then I say by all means, don't rush it.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. Let's see what Kyong opts to do. We'd go into Skullwoods first. Map check, of course. So Swamp was our other 5/6.
Okay. Yeah, and Ozzy got a nice, well-timed fairy coming out of Skullwoods there, so he's in a nice health position. Giving us our first bumper ledge check. Can't access it now. Didn't even see what that was. Maybe arrows? Gonna check on the Twitch restream. And
I think
arrows.
It was in their upgrade, yeah. So nothing required there, but knowledge is power.
And these are our first checks of the exterior Village of Outcast chests. Nothing in C-shaped house.
Seed has been very generous with the monies. Already back up to 600, almost 700.
Yeah, they've done Zora, so this is more than enough money for the remaining, the chess game, digging game, uh, big bomb, anything that you would need money for. Kiki, they can probably even pick up a potion. I like Ozzy throwing the bomb there at the brewery hut. I blow myself up every time I try to do that.
Yeah, it's hard to avoid damage unless you're really good with that. I get hit all the time, so if I'm ever low on health, I'll just put the bomb right at the door because I don't trust myself to throw that.
So it's a shame that they don't have the mirror, the hammer, and the hook shot. With the flute, they have access to get up to Death Mountain, and it's really going to be unfortunate if we find the hook shot sitting there in Spectacle Rock Cave, the one item that they can actually logically access up there. I'm starting to wonder where those items could be.
Oh, it could be in Spectre Rock, like you said. It could be in Hype Cave. Hype Cave could be Hype. And I guess we got Meyer Shed as well.
Oh no, I mean, I know places they can be.
Oh, okay.
Pyramid Catfish, lot. They have to do Aga or get the hammer, but yeah, there's lots of potential places.
Oh boy, I can't wait to do Aga to get the second sword to get something off a tablet because there's no other swords before GT.
The worst is having to do Aga simply to get access to the pyramid parry location.
That one's pretty bad too.
I've only seen it once. That's how rare it is.
Yeah, I know. One of our fellow commentators, Mikon, has had a seat like that before. It was quite funny because at that point, I don't think anybody was really aware that was the thing that could happen. Kyong making easy work with Mothula though. Half magic is a pretty good item. Don't think Thieves Town has had. Ooh, how'd you get 2 grasshoppers with 1 skull there? That was impressive. But I don't think Thieves Town has had much impressive besides that.
No, and we're gonna have to wait and see until Blind's dead, whether there is an item in that big chest. Always risky doing this without the hammer, like you pointed out earlier.
Yeah. I feel like when I come in here without the hammer, it's all the dungeon items are in the first 4 chests. Like, alright. Thank you, game. How many items have been in Thieves Town so far? I think I've seen maybe 2.
I'm waiting for the inventory change so I can check how much dungeon trash we have. But so we get to find out what's in the mushroom here. Arrow in mirror. Yeah, that's not a save and quit there.
No, we're gonna take that. We could actually get that sword on like Kylie if we were desperate enough to do the Water Rock from Skullwoods, but I don't expect that to be the case. So yeah, that's an interesting thing about the fetch quest items. Some people will just forget about them or just put them off for a while. Some people will just turn them in as soon as they can, just so if it is something, they get it out of the way. What's your philosophy on fetch quest items?
Well, it depends on the fetch quest. Powder, I will if I get powder early and I can hammer. I'll route it in with something else. The mushroom is probably the most obvious one. If you get the flute, I'll turn it in immediately. I almost never turn it in without the flute unless I'm running low on items. And like Sick Kid, same thing. I won't go out of my way for them, I guess, is the answer.
Okay. I think that's fair. It's not very common that they will pay out, but when they do, it feels so nice just to go right there. It's like, yeah, got your number. So I got the Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, we'll see what's in here. This is one of the mirror locked locations. Wasn't able to check, this key 45. These are some of the easy ones that you can miss early on if you don't have the mirror. If the mirror is not required, it is required in this seed for Swamp Palace, and most likely we'll also get our second sword at the same time, or third sword at the time. But in a mirror optional seed, you don't want to find. You want to find it early or late. You don't want to find it in the middle.
Yeah, it's such a useful item. It does lock a few locations that maybe if it's not required, you could skip, and it makes you see faster that way. But just for things like dungeon routing, even like especially pod's the big one where the mirror comes into play.
Yeah, setting up all those death warps in pod is really annoying. Blue mail makes that a little bit harder. I just want to say thank you to chat for pointing out the Thieves Town big chest was the compass, because I had both missed it and forgotten about it.
Okay, well that's a sigh of relief coming from Ozzy then. Thank goodness I don't have to come back here. Now, hype cave. We be hype. We be not hype. I don't know.
That's some decent hype. We know we're going to require those flippers.
Yeah. So we know where the bow fits in on the logic. We could also get that sword right now, but it's quite a walk to get it.
Well, Ozzy needs to pick up the mirror before we can get that sword. But I do expect Kyong will head down there and pick up the flippers and hype cave as well. For him, though, well, no hook shot means you're probably not going to go in the swamp with so many other places to go.
Yeah, or even the hammer. Like we can get the one item there. That's a bad feeling when you're going into mire for the first chest.
Oh yeah. No hammer means we can't get more than one item in swamp either. I miss the hammer, and I tend to forget that one.
I wish it were here right now.
Yeah, Kyung facing the same anxiety, doing Thieves Town without the hammer will be glad when he finds out that it was not needed.
Yeah, and Kyung also has the mirror, so I would not be surprised at all if they head up to Death Mountain soon for that Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that's gonna make a lot of sense. So the mushroom was here in Eastern, wasn't it? It was with the flute?
Yeah, it was in the big chest, which is right next to the flute, I believe.
Okay, well, once you get the flute, it's really easy to turn the mushroom in. So hopefully for ozipone, he'll do so, and we'll also pick up the mirror and not be too far behind at that point. I don't think anything has been missed so far, other than just key 45.
Yeah, I think they're actually, right now, relatively even. Both of them are clearing a dungeon that the other has already cleared, and Kyung might finish a bit before Ozzy in that respect, but it's still pretty even. It's gonna really depend on when Ozzy turns in this mushroom, because that's definitely gonna be something that will lead you astray if you don't get it.
Yeah, so without the hammer or the hook shot, we can't do anything on the east side of Death Mountain. Between Light and Dark World, you get about 20 items over there. The Tower of Hera is a crystal, and we can find out what the Ether Medallion item is, even if we can't get it. So I think you're right. I think it does make sense to head up there, if for nothing, just to rule out value being up there.
If you find hammer up there, or hook shot, then that's really good for you. So I would just definitely check that before, doing some of these crazier things like doing the first chest in Swamp or going to Ice Palace. I guess you could check the Mire Shed, and that'd be fine, but...
Well, even if you don't get the hammer or the hook shot, with the sword, you're probably going to be sequence breaking the old man, so you'll get that same continue point, which is very valuable with the flute. And you're still getting a crystal out of Hera, so it's not a wasted trip.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you find that, like, hammer or hookshot is on the ether tablet, then that's going to prioritize your picking up that Hylia Island sword.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know there's not a lot of swords in this game. You can't be picky. There's one more we don't know the location of, and one of them we will not be getting. In all likelihood.
So we're finishing up the overlap here. Ozzy not using the fire rod is making this a little bit more difficult for himself, but gets through it. Kyong is doing the southern Dark World stuff, and this is going to lead him to his flippers.
We'll be able to check the K45, as they like to call it. Maybe that's something.
Yeah, that is one extra check that having the mirror early for is gonna save him a bit of time. Actually, he could turn the frog in immediately and take the blacksmith on the world tour, and check Bombo's tablet as well. Once again, can't get it, but can find out whether it's going to be worth coming back to.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the play they're going to be making. I'd be surprised. So we do know where one other sword is right now. We know where two of them are. So if Bombos is something, you gotta expect that's going to be going up in the things to get list.
I think there's no better time than walking the chest down there. If you have the mirror at this point, there's so many things you're going to be able to do. Oh!
What?
That's not. That was unexpected.
Don't you guys need that?
They had a whole wall full of hammers.
Hey, well, thanks.
Oh, we can get hammer pegs done while we're here.
I mean, there's no more convenient time.
Yeah, it was basically like walking out. Oh, I guess I'll route this in, but noping on the bottle.
This Kyong just need more than two.
And that's the difference the mirror makes, because Ozzy would have had to take the dwarf all the way on the world tour. Maybe didn't want to limit his options, force himself to have to turn it back in. And Kyong could just knock it out right away. You can always ditch the purple chest, but you either have to turn the blacksmith in or have Kiki eat him in order to get rid of that.
Yeah, you can also eat him with a big bomb, I believe, but that's a bit off. Okay, so Ozzy's heading over here to the Meyer area. We'll be able to get to information on the medallion. Mystery Meyer isn't required, but could have something required in it, and it is ether.
A little bit of a shame Ozzy went here prior to turning in that mushroom. Means he's not going to be able to do Checkerboard Cave while he's over here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Not going in Meyer quite yet, even though we actually can get in there. Can't complete it, but we could get in there.
I think this makes sense. Gambling on one of those two items in Meyer being the vanilla cane is a pretty big gamble, and that's not a dark room that you're going to want to choose to do. Speaking of dark rooms,
well, those are no longer an issue. And the other thing about the early Mystery Meyer dip is if the other item's on Vitreous, you might be going in there and spending like 5 minutes looking for one item. It's not cool. But Ozzy does get their mirror.
all right, Bombo's tablet is dead. That's just couch cash, pedestal, and Bombo's tablet. So we know where some of the big 20s are in this game.
Hopefully we won't be opening them up looking for other items. We just know where they are and never have to see them again. So Ozzy going up to Death Mountain right away, doing this old man dark room.
Yeah, if Kyong had the hook shot, I would have said Swamp Palace would be great right now. But no hook shot means no Swamp Palace.
Yeah, Kyong has so many options right now. It's kind of making my head spin.
Well, that hammer lets him full clear Death Mountain. Once he gets up to here, he can go right and do both the light and dark world, pick up a massive amount of items. And for him, that old man rescue won't even be a sequence break because he has the lamp now.
Yeah, yes he does. Gonna be grabbing the sword while we're here.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep, it's right there. You might as well, if you go up to Death Mountain and Ether's required, you can just get it while you're there. You don't have to make another trip.
He's keeping his Dark World portal though, so to me this looks like a pyramid check.
Yeah, probably gonna be heading up.
Or dipping the pod, but that's less likely.
Yeah, pod would be crazy right now. So there's a red bottle in Ether. Not required, but I mean, that would be nice to have if we had the sword right now, but we don't. Yeah, pod versus Death Mountain and Dark Death Mountain.
That's a no-brainer. If they find that Turtle Rock is also Ether, then they're done on medallions. Or Quake, because presumably they'll pick up, Kyong will pick up Quake as well in Hera. At that point, it's just a hookshot and a Canis Maria from Go Mode. So 20 items on Dark Death Mountain or 5 in Pen Dungeon, that's an easy call.
Yeah, I would say so. So as far as medallions go, we do have 2 of them, so we have 66% chance, not 6 repeating, that we have what we need.
Yeah, gotta throw in that repeating.
Well, you know, I try to be accurate. What does Mr. Catfish have for us today? Just a big 20.
The Pyramid and Catfish, you could say they're questionable calls at that point. With the Flute and the Hammer, it's very fast to get back to that 5 portal. That'll get you Pod. That'll also get you, Pyramid again. I might have said grab the sword and then go directly to Death Mountain.
Yeah, maybe Kyung's idea here is because they wouldn't want to do that without the 5-6 crystal, which requires hookshot. They're checking that on the chance that it is hookshot, so it doesn't evade them for a long time. Maybe there's some kind of weird thought going behind that, but no such luck today.
I can see that. If you find the hook shot or you find the Canis Maria, then maybe you can get Turtle Rock done while you're up on Death Mountain. But just whenever you prioritize,
ooh,
there's a hook shot.
Smear is just so valuable.
Yeah, Mirror's paying off this seed. And Mirror came out of Eastern indirectly, so Eastern was the play. So just looking over at ozipone, trying to set up this bomb jump. I don't know why he's going for the 2-pixel setup, because he has the boots, so he could do the 6-pixel setup, which is much more forgiving.
Yeah, if you have the boots and the bonk off the wall there, it increases your vertical leniency with that bomb jump by quite a lot. Oop. Speaking of things with not a lot of vertical leniency.
Bumper. Yeah, that's a troll bumper.
Yeah, I feel so bad when I don't get that on the restream too, so I stopped doing it. But second time is a charm for Ozzy. Coming up here on Moldorm now.
I'm with you. Do that on practices, on the weeklies and stuff. Don't do it on a tournament restream. So a hammer and hookshot definitely give Kong a significant item advantage at this point.
Yeah, Kyung has a lot of things that they can opt to do, and Ozzy's already been to the Meyer area. So going back there for just checkerboard cave seems not high on the list, I guess, but it's always possible. It's not a very long check to make.
It's a quick check, but you're in a situation where you're prioritizing one-off locations, and that's just it's one of many other one-offs that you can check.
Yeah.
Kyong also got that red bottle on the ether tablet. Couldn't really opt out of it. He just kind of got it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have an extra health.
Absolutely. I mean, I love potions. Potions are my favorite thing to find. Never not useful.
So ozipone heading back into Village of Outcasts. This could be a graveyard ledge check, or I was going to say, or it could be blacksmith stuff. But this looks like graveyard, and then maybe catfish afterwards.
Yeah, very easy to hop over that way. This does leave pyramid as like it's isolated now. Of course, there's still the possibility to check that with the pyramid fairy, but that's going to be a little bit off. Maybe we don't have the means to actually complete swap right now. I'm a little surprised they didn't grab the chest before coming over here.
Well, he still has to turn in the blacksmith.
Yeah.
So yeah, either of those items would have been good. He has the mirror now, so they're all pretty quick checks.
It's true as well. Also has the flute, so I don't imagine that Aussie will skip K45, but if they wanted to, they could just flute down there.
Well, Ozzy's going back to Village of Outcasts rather than Catfish, so this will probably be the blacksmith's chain. Not unreasonably, he may have been waiting to get the hammer to route in hammer pegs. So he'll be a little happy here when he finds where the hammer is.
Sometimes it's necessary, but if you can avoid it with slightly different routing, it can be worth it as well. But hammer is just right here.
Exactly. Kyong there with the hook shot and the boots doesn't have to do any bomb jump to get that Hera big chest. Very, very easy to pick up.
Why, thank you. If only that could be there every seed, I'd be a lot happier.
Don't know what he was waiting for there. No! Where are you going, bud? You forgot the hammer pegs.
Oh no. I mean, it's just an empty bottle, but still not great.
Yeah, but if he thinks about it later and then has to come all the way back here.
Yeah, it's... Ugh. Man, Crystal 5, not even an hour in for Kyong, and they have a 6th one they could complete if they chose to right now.
Yeah, they're even on crystals, but yeah, and you're right. Kyong has everything he needs to full clear Skull Woods. Going to find a lot of items now. We're heading into the most item dense location in the game, the combo of Light and Dark Death Mountain.
Also going to get our information, the Turtle Rock medallion.
And I have that 66.6% repeating chance of being able to get it. So.
Well, not today. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a 33.3% chance repeating that they can't.
It's a 100% chance, really. This machine is just... It hates humans. It'll trick you into a false sense of security, and then bam. There's Bombus on Turtle.
Silver's in Hookshot Cave. Having the hookshot, that's a chest that Ozzy wouldn't be able to get if he goes... Looks like he's going right back to Death Mountain now, but he's going to leave Hookshot Cave behind.
Yeah, I can get one chest, but you don't want to have to come back for those 3 later.
The fact that Ozzy's already completed the Desert Crystal and checked the Maya Shed really isolates Checkerboard Cave. I mean, he's done a Genius Cave. He's done everything else in that area except for the Mired Dungeon. Not an optimal way to go back there.
No,
It's not a long check, but it's just out of the way.
Yeah, I could definitely see him checking it. I could also see him not checking it for a long time. Like maybe Pod at some point looks a little bit better now. Oh man, if we didn't know what the ped was, we could speculate that it'd be Bombos, but we know it's money.
Yeah, the nice thing about the Mire area is that regardless of where you are in the game, you can basically get back there in a couple seconds.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ducky, for making that possible.
Well, he's not called the Spag Duck for no reason.
Probably everybody's favorite character, if you've run this game.
Well, if your choices are between the duck that takes you everywhere and the fortune teller that gives you, you know, no helpful hints and takes your money, I mean, you don't have too many things you can choose from.
Yeah, at least the fortune teller restores your health. Couldn't the duck do that, please? Next version of the randomizer.
That would be pretty nice. If you have a red potion, you use the flute, you arrive with full health, but no more red potion.
Well, that would be inconvenient. I'm just saying, take out one of these big 20s, put in like a premium flight service, like normal flutes coach, and when you get that item, it's like business, and they just they pour your red potions for you.
First class Spag Duck, you get to use it once per game.
Alright, well, Kyong heading in the swamp. It's very hard to resist the siren call down here, because this is not just swamps 6 items, it's also Pyramid Fairies 2 items.
This makes a lot of sense. If you find your Bombos medallion and your cane both in here, then you're done. I think you definitely want to find Bombos first. If you find the cane first, it can lead you into Mire. If you find Bombos first, it cannot lead you into Turtle Rock.
Yeah, because Turtle Rock, unless like you're a hover god, you need the cane to actually get in the door. And I don't know why you would hover at that point. Let's go find it. What are you doing?
I've seen people like just on their own streams and just like to show off and stuff will hover Turtle Rock, but I can't imagine anybody doing that in a race.
Don't get me wrong, it's very impressive, but
yeah, you always see them clip their successful hover of Turtle Rock. You don't see their 6 hours of failed attempts prior to it.
Yeah, you see the Twitch clip. And we just saw Bombos in the first chest in Swamp, so you got your wish. We found that first.
That's not my wish. That's Kyong and Ozipone's wish.
Oh, so your wish was we find Samaria first, I guess.
I don't typically take an evil position towards the runners. You should be grateful for that, because I just finished your race, and I wished you no ill will.
I appreciate that, yeah. And to be fair, it was a pretty nice seed. And the one time somebody did, we had vanilla can Samaria, and that was awful. So hopefully it doesn't repeat itself here. That'd be too much. Swamp's just so dense, though. I would not be surprised to find this right away. I wonder if Kyong will skip left side for now, even though we did find the map. Yeah, I guess we are skipping that for now. A lot of runners like to do this, where if you're one item from go mode, just skip left side swamp, and then if you find it in the back, great, you don't have to do left side. and if you don't find it, you have to do left side slightly less efficiently. But sometimes the big key's on Argus, and it works out anyway. So.
Yeah, Ozzy getting his second sword. I totally agree with you. If you're only looking for one item, you do the back of Swamp first. If you find it, then you're done. If not, maybe you'll find the big key at least. So if you have to come back, you can get that on the way. It's definitely more efficient.
Yeah, we did find the compass there as well. So left side does have 2 items. Or maybe 1 item and the big key leading to another item. But let's see what Argus. What you got?
So Ozzy checking Pyramid, taking him further away from the checkerboard cave, but going to run out of locations at some point.
Wow, that bomb ogre. Just giving Ozzy the business. I want to say that Ozzy will check Checkerboard Cave before going into Ice Palace or Pod. I want to say that. Hey, there we go.
It's a pretty fast check. I think you're right. A lot of people will like to do that. The risk for Ozzy is that he commits into doing a full clear of Pod, searching for the hook shot. If he finds the King of Samaria in there, on the other hand, that could definitely work out in his favor.
Yeah, because Kyong has a lot of locations where if the Cane of Samaria is in a pendant dungeon right now, there's a lot of places for them it could be. They are literally missing that, and the only thing that really blocks access to right now is Vitreous and Turtle Rock. Just not a lot of locations in this game.
Well, Ozzy is diving into Pod, it seems. Yeah, hookshot's in Checkerboard Cave. And we do not know where the King of Samaria is. There's 1 sword in Lumberjack, which we're probably never going to get. We don't know where the last sword is either.
Yeah. If Kane is in Pod, that might be the worst case scenario for Ozzy, just because it is the dungeon with the most items. And if Kyong is going to dip the pendant dungeon, they would probably come here first, I would think. But, I mean, Ozzy doesn't know that. Ozzy's still looking for the hook shot. They're like, I want to find the hook shot. I'm not going to find it here.
Well, given the fact that Kyong had the mirror when he did, and the hook shot for Hookshot Cave, he was able to route the overworld a little bit more efficiently. So he actually doesn't have too many overworld locations left.
Yeah, that's true, actually. He actually did a really good job clearing up pretty much all of the overworld, so at this point, likely just looking at what pendant dungeon they want to dive if they don't find it on this left side of Swamp.
Yeah, as you pointed out earlier, he's going to be able to walk out of Swamp House and then immediately go do Pyramid Ferry.
Yeah, there's just so many items here coming here right now, especially when Swamp's a 5-6. That's like the best case scenario in most situations, because if you're go moding Swamp, okay, you don't have to check Pyramid Ferry, but if you do have to full clear Swamp, well, you have Pyramid Ferry to back you up. So much juicier. It's the A1 sauce of the mistake with the Swamp Palace. Just 10 arrows and 5 rupees, though.
So only a crystal in Swamp, but it's still a crystal. And he is heading up to the Pyramid Ferry.
Yes, indeed. So Kyung probably praying very hard. Let this be the cane.
Kyung has had just fantastic routing. I mean, doing the Pyramid Ferry now, you don't have to re-enter the Dark World. It's one screen transition coming out of Swamp, and you're right at where you would have been if you had entered the Dark World there.
Yeah, Kyung has just been... It's worked out really well. The places they've checked in the order they checked have just played out really well. That getting the mirror before checking the south side of Dark World. Oh, are we gonna see? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Did he lose it?
I've never seen this from 2 screens away. So if you enter a screen transition while the bomb is blowing up, the bomb will teleport to you, which is what happened there.
I've seen that many times, but that's probably just because I've watched more races. You've been busy, practicing and stuff as a participant. Haven't had as much time.
Most of the times I see that, it's people going upwards, like to the Aghanim portal. Like they'll jump off the ledge and wait for that and then walk up. But I haven't seen it run all the way from the bottom of that screen to the pyramid. That was great.
All right, so it looks like Kyong is dipping pendants now. Has done pretty much. Like, I don't know if he did Spike Cave. That's a one-off that he would have had the brute force through health. But Ice Palace, this is 3 items, and it's also the green pendant. It'll be interesting to see if he gets all 3 items quickly. Will he still go kill Cold Stare for that 4th?
It's hard to say. I imagine you would, just to be safe, because dipping back into Ice Palace to get that later, like Ice Palace takes a long time to go through. So I think if you're coming here, right. Yeah, I think if you're coming here, you're probably committed to the idea of killing Cold Stare just for the green pendant.
And if he does go to Palace of Darkness next, he'll be able to route turning the green pendant in at the same time, so that makes it a little bit more incentive to get it done now. That's
very true as well.
So far, we haven't seen the King of Samaria in Palace of Darkness. We've done the front of Pod, though, which has been a lot of keys. So we got a few locations left, a few items. King in here would be great for ozipone.
Yeah, it might actually send them to the Mire area on the idea, well, maybe my item is on Vitreous, and then they'll check checkerboard and get hook shot while they're there.
There were 3 items in the Dark Maze there, and I guess he's heading to Helmasaur for the last item.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's doing it for fun, since we do know that the ped is dead. So there must be an item on Helmasaur King. King of Samaria is not going to be in Mire, is it?
It could be in Mire. I mean, it can't be on Vitreous, but it could be in the front of Mire.
That would be the worst.
Well, I do expect both players to check full clear Pod and full clear Ice before they check Vanilla Mire.
Yeah. Kyong finding that early key as well makes it really nice. You just come right over here to the 3 chests on the right side of Ice Palace.
The one advantage of full clearing Misery Mire in search for those items is that sometimes you do have to basically do a full clear anyway just to find the big key. So it's not so bad to double dip that if it's a crystal, but if it's a pendant and you're not going to go to the boss anyway, then it's a lot of extra work.
There's a lot of leg room that goes into to Misery Mire. That's why the pendant Misery Mire is like the worst dungeon for a required item to be in, unless it like bottlenecks you and you know for a fact that Mire is where you have to go early on. Ice Palace spin a lot of keys.
Yeah, and we get to see our last item in Pod here, so this is the last hope for Akane and Helmasaur. I'm actually kind of holding out hope. I want to see the Kane here. I wanted to see a... my dream is dead. That died pretty fast, didn't it?
Asking you shall receive, but on the wrong stream. So Kyong In go mode, 1 hour, 9 minutes. Heading into their last dungeon right now.
I've done so many commentaries that my curse is really strong.
You've definitely been leveling up here, putting on these hours,
Yeah.
grinding.
I'm the Darth Vader of commentator's curse. Yeah, so Ozzy can full clear ice if he's still looking for the hook shot. That will at least get him the cane. But it's going to be tough to route in the hook shot and the cane at this point.
Yeah, that's... If he finds the hook shot first, he's going to full clear swamp looking for the cane. If he doesn't find the hook shot first, then he's going to full clear ice palace looking for the cane. Yeah, Kyong surrounding the seed was just superb. They hit everything they needed to in a really convenient order.
Yeah, neither of them has taken any deaths. Execution's been very nice. I say this in every stream that I commentate. A lot of early mirror is probably one of my favorite items, just because how much more efficient it makes your routing.
Yeah, and even just turning in the mushroom right away. Like, we had the flute. It wasn't the worst. Like, it wasn't really hard to turn that in. But turning that in for even doing the dark side of Dark World. The dark side, the south side of Dark World.
I feel the same way.
Darker Dark World. Where you need 2 lamps.
So, Ozzy just checked hammer pegs there, and I feel... I can't really feel bad for him because he walked right past it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of his own fault on that one. But he's on his way to get the hook shot. This will probably lead him up to Hookshot Cave before Ice Palace, though.
Yeah, potentially, I guess. I mean, I guess Ice Palace has more items in it, but it also takes a heck of a lot longer to get them all.
3 in Hookshot Cave, 3 in Ice Palace, but a 4th with the pendant, which we never saw because Kyong did not have to kill Cold Stare.
That's going to be our other sword, isn't it?
Yeah, probably will be. But he still has to do all of Swamp Palace, and without the cane, this will probably be a full clear of Swamp as well. So it's a full Swamp and basically a full Ice behind at this point. Plus any diversions he makes prior to going to Ice.
Yeah, like, Ozzy's, like, you look at the time, Ozzy can't feel too bad about that, I would think. Maybe they do because Mushroom was just so accessible. It's very possible that Kyong checked that a while ago and they're ahead, which was the case, but I don't know.
Well, I'll disagree a little bit, and this comes from obviously, commentators' perspective on seeing both streams. But Ozzy could have taken the blacksmith on a world tour on his first trip there, and that would have gotten him the hammer earlier. He opted not to take anything on the tour, so he might say, "Okay, man, I really missed out on that hammer." And he also just did a full clear of Pod and came away empty-handed.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, I can definitely see that. When you full clear a pendant dungeon, you get nothing for your time. Feeling behind is just an inevitability.
Yeah, especially when the first item you get in your next crystal dungeon is the Turtle Rock medallion. You're like, okay, now I'm 1 item away from go mode, and I could have been here 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, do you think Ozzy's gonna skip the swamp left side on the assumption that he's really far behind?
No, I think he's going to full clear it. He's looking for the cane. He's not going to want to skip anything at this point. He had the double back to do hammer pegs. Skipping things has kind of been, contributing to some of his issues. So I think at this point it's going to be thoroughness from here on out.
Let's see. Yeah, I would agree with that, I think.
I think at this point your thinking is basically you know, my earlier skipping, you know, if that's the time it cost me and that's what makes me lose, then, you know, there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm not going to take any more gambles.
And I guess if you find a third sword, like there's still a few items that Ozzy would really like to see. Aside from the King Mario, like a third sword or the silver arrows, you feel really happy to find those.
Yeah, and we see the same thing from Kong. You know, he's still opening chests that are convenient. We need one key here on Laser Bridge, but I won't be at all surprised if he opens the other 3 as well. A tempered sword is you know, as long as the chest is quick, a tempered sword's going to be nice to find. Yep, and it opens the last one. So this is a completely optional chest at this point.
10 arrows. Well, we have Master Sword for Trinex, but we also have Half Magic and at least 1 blue potion. So I don't expect any issues with this fight. Oh, we're using hammer too. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, half magic makes a huge difference here. I'll say that if you're going to do Hammer Trinex or Master Sword Trinex, I recommend doing the Ice Head first, just to avoid getting ice on the floor. People do the Fire Head first because it comes out quicker and makes for a shorter kill. Doing the Ice Head first makes for a safer fight.
Yeah, it does. On the inverse, if you do the Ice Head first, you can use all of your remaining magic on the Ice Head, and the Fire Rod does do damage. The Ice Rod does damage to the Fire Rod as well, but the Fire Rod, I believe, does a bit more damage. So that's our last crystal.
Bots don't seem to be working today, though. So you know, maybe we will, maybe we won't. Yeah, that bot's dead as well. So unfortunately, no leaderboard, and you'll just have to pat yourself on the back if you pick correctly.
22 chests in Ganon's Tower. They can have the big key. But you guess in chat what it's gonna be. The bot is dead, but I'll write your name on a sticky note and like put it on my wall for a day if you get it right.
Well, I got it right last time.
What you guessed today?
I guessed at number 4 last time, and the day before I also picked number 4 and got it right. So I'm going to go with number 4.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Torch.
It's really awkward when I win. It's like the winner is me.
Oh, I'm just so great. Alright, well, no right side first this time. There's a shield and torch.
Yeah, that's number 3.
Char to a nice black. Been there for a while, I guess.
Well, yeah, these sprites do mess with the palettes a little bit. And Ozzy is doing left side swamp as we expected. And 4 is dead.
So is 5. So 6. So 7. What are your opinions on GT routing in general? If you find a small key on the right side, do you like to do right side first, or do you check the first 2 and go left, or what?
So my thinking when it comes down to the Ganon's Tower routing is the layout is random. You should find a route that works for you and then just stick with it. Trying to metagame like I'm going to gamble on Tower Room, maybe I'm behind. I don't buy into any of that. My personal route is if you find a key on the right on the Hope Room, you do the right 4 chests, then you do full left, and then you do Tower Room if necessary. That seems to be, I think, the most optimum route. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's what works for me personally. How about you?
If I get a small key on the right side, I will typically do right side. I would have to be like really low on magic and have no refill, which almost never happens when you go into GT because you just finished the boss. There we go. Rando room.
It's nice to find the powder as well. That's going to give them a lot of options to load up on health right before heading into Moldorm too.
Yeah. So what chest is that?
I wasn't counting since I didn't have to type it in afterwards. I just didn't count.
I think it was 14. I think that was the last chest in the rando room that they checked. Right?
If he went full right, if he went right side first, then rando room is 10, 11, 12, and 13. So that would have been 12, I believe.
Okay. Lucky number 13. Can't believe we all got it right.
I'll make sticky notes for 13 and put it on my wall.
Right, well, we didn't find a sword along the way, but there are still some easy chests to check in GT. Maybe get lucky.
I was just gonna say, ozipone looks like he's making his way up to Hookshot Cave to check these 3 locations prior to dipping into any other pendant dungeons, which would just be Ice or Mire at this point.
Yeah, I guess this is understandable. It's probably faster in a lot of ways than Ice Palace would be. And you already dipped into Pod. You don't want to dip into another pendant dungeon and have it come up, you know, with nothing.
So I guess I'll appreciate the help from Demon's Druid here and say Winter Scythe was the first to guess 13. Yay!
Congratulations. Sorry the bot's dead, but we will never forget your victory.
Who won again? Never mind. Yeah, the question of whether Kyong had bothered practicing since the fall has been answered, and yes, he has been practicing.
Yeah, I would definitely say this looks like a person who's been practicing rando recently. Just really good execution, really good routing. They are looking prime to pre-qualify, I would say.
Pre-qualify?
Exactly.
I like that. I gotta remember that one. And steal it and not give you credit.
Yeah, and to be fair, Ozzy hasn't played bad at all. It's just the way Ozzy played the early game, which was totally reasonable, just happened to not work out. So this is a 3-game series. Ozzy could absolutely come back and win this 2-0. But Kyong is going to make it hard.
So Fiesel fixed all the bots except the key game, so a little bit late, unfortunately.
Well, you guys don't have to worry. There's plenty of races in this tournament to come. If you got, a gambling fever, You'll have your chance. Wow, Aga, thank you. That was just on the chin.
That was a weird triple. That's a nice triple though.
Wowie, wowie. Double, triple.
Triple, triple, double, triple. One of those two.
Granted that the patterns are pretty easy, but still, always a pleasure to see.
Yeah, Aga did kind of suicide. You basically just had to hold your sword out for that fight.
Now, Ganon is not going to go as gently into the good night, with an asterisk next to it. If he goes to the top right, it's possible he does go gently into the night, but Master Sword Ganon. We do have silvers, but still lots of spins.
Yeah, 24 spins for the first two phases, 8 more spins for the next two. Unfortunately, ozipone heading into Misery Mire looking for Vanilla King, not going to find it.
Unfortunate. But probably feel so behind at this point that they feel that if it's not in Mire, they at least like a location that his opponent would check. He's probably already lost. At least I would suspect that's his line of thinking. We're in the phase 2 here. We only have the cape to sort of wedge ourselves between Ganon and the wall safer.
Yeah, the red mail definitely helps. If we had cape, half magic would be nice, but this top right positioning, this is the god positioning for phase 2.
Yeah, if you're doing spins, this is where you want Ganon to be, because as you can see, Kyong just got like 8 of them.
Yeah, if you have Tempered Sword, 3 spins in that corner will be all you need for the entire phase 2. So 6 spins for Master Sword.
And now all we have to do is get one more spin here and then put 4 arrows in Mr. Piggy. We did find them, in fact.
It still pays to set up the torch glitch, just because you do have to get pretty close with those spins, and might need to do an extra couple rounds.
Yeah, if you're ever in the opportunity to do that, with Master Sword, I think it's worth it, because at least with Tempered, you can like set up a better double, triple maybe, but with Master Sword, you're probably not going to have that opportunity, so...
4 singles is more than enough when you have a nice big lead.
Yes, indeed.
So it's GG's.
Absolute GG to Kyong with a very strong first showing this tournament. Time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, 32 seconds. Well done.
Yeah, it was a very nice fight. And ozipone still going at it, so we'll bring Kyong in for an interview here. Welcome, Kyong. GG's. Very, very nice fight.
Hey, thank you.
So, go ahead.
No. After you, Mallory.
I was just going to ask, what are your thoughts on that seat?
It went pretty well overall. It was pretty straightforward, I think.
You certainly made it look that way. Your routing was just... It worked out really, really well for you.
Yeah.
So I have a more general question for you. If you can, I'm sure some of the fans watching would be interested to know what kind of preparation work did you put into this? You were auto-qualified from the fall tournament, so you didn't have to do any matches in Swiss. Have you been playing a lot lately?
The past few months I was focusing more on... I played in the NMG tournament, so I played a ton of NMG, which helps a lot. And in the past month or so, I have been going back to random and checking stats and playing and studying on people and things like that.
Your execution was definitely top notch. we were joking. Mally was joking about maybe you'll pre-qualify for the next tournament if you keep playing the way you played today.
Well, I'm definitely gonna try, but it's definitely not gonna be easy.
The big progression in this game was probably the mirror is the single most valuable item. Hammer was a really nice find at Blacksmith's. Was there any particular point where you felt that a single routing decision paid off?
There were quite a lot, I think, because everything flowed quite smoothly for me, and that definitely helps because I managed to clear the whole overworld except Spy Cave was the only overworld thing I didn't check, and it went pretty darn fast to do all of that.
Yeah, I think what really helped was the decision to turn in the mushroom so quickly. That really helped your routing quite a lot, I would say.
I'm actually surprised he did that. If at least you're implying that he did that.
Ozzy put it off for a little while. Like they got it in a reasonable amount of time, but yeah, it wasn't like the first thing they jumped to like you did. So they did the Mire area first, which was really what I think put you sizably in the lead, because that hookshot evaded Ozzy for quite a while, just because they'd already been in Mire area.
Yeah, that would, yeah. I actually checked Mushroom kinda early, mostly because he usually checks kinda early, and he likes to like save and quit, check Mushroom if there's nothing reset and stuff, to save for fake powder. So that's why it took me a while to get the Mushroom, because I was already almost clicking reset on my emulator. Yeah.
I think you didn't.
Well, I would say in addition to the hook shot, having the mirror when you did also made it a little bit more appealing for you to immediately turn the blacksmith in, and that got you your hammer. So going into game 2, I believe you guys have it scheduled for tomorrow, is that correct?
Yep, tomorrow and Sunday same time. For 2 and 3.
Do you have any expectation that you'll change your gameplay based on the outcome of today's race, or will you be sticking with essentially the same approach?
Well, to be fair, I probably wouldn't say that here.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's fair. You can direct message me later. I'll keep it a secret. Yeah, everyone on Twitch says they'll keep it a secret too. I don't have a long list of questions here, Mally. Do you have any questions you want to go through, or we can just give Kyong a chance to share any final thoughts?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot that really confused me. I was mostly just impressed by the stuff I saw. For example, that bomb leading it into the pyramid fairy area from so far away.
Oh, that, yeah. It's much easier than it looks like. It's pretty safe to do, actually.
Interesting. Yeah, that's all I got.
Because you trigger that when you transition with the bomb when the counter is going to 0, right? And if you fail that, you can just keep transitioning between both screens. So it's basically free, as long as you're not too late.
Very interesting. Haven't actually done that myself, but maybe I'll try it sometime.
Well, we have ozipone is in go mode now, having picked up the cane. So we'll watch his completion of Turtle Rock and ascent through the tower. Kyong, I will wish you good luck for your next race tomorrow.
Thank you guys for commentating. I don't know if it was was kind of in a hurry because I saw that the schedule didn't have it set. So thank you guys for jumping in.
No problem. Happy to do it.
All right, so back to Ozzy. He's already opened up Turtle Rock here. Just needs to take the portal and go in, and this is go mode for him as well. So skipping Mimic Cave and any out of the way chests. Basically the exact same situation Kyong was in. Would like another sword if we find it, but doesn't need it. Cassidy, Ozzy did pick up the Silvers in Hookshot Cave, so we can mark that, and that will give him the ability to do the simpler Ganon fight.
Oh, thank goodness. Where is this other sword? I want to know.
Yeah, I would guess maybe right side of, well, no, I mean maybe deeper in Ganon's tower, but we did get 14 of the items. We saw all of Palace of Darkness from Ozzy.
I guess it could be green pendant, or maybe those 4 chests on the right side of GT. Since Kyong did opt to skip those.
Uh, 154 collection rate is a little bit higher than I'd expect, given skipping Pa Admire and several GT chests, but it's still a very nice rate.
Yeah, that's actually a really good time as well for that collection rate, just due to the efficiency with which Kyong could clear the overworld.
I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a single dungeon that he had to double dip, or even an overworld area that he had to go back to.
Yeah, the only thing he would have to come back for, I believe, was Spike Cave, and just finding that early mirror makes the magic happen. And the early Titans bits, I guess, as well.
Yeah, Desert Palace absolutely paid off with those mitts. And an early boot and flute made navigation very easy. This would have been a fun seed to play.
It would have been a lot funner than a lot of the seeds that I played, I will say that. Yeah, unfortunately, Ozzy right now is 10 minutes behind Kyong's finish time. When they finish, they'll probably be, I don't know, maybe 15-20 minutes. It just goes to show how key having those early items when you're doing all this stuff. Because Ozzy checked a lot of the same locations that Kyong did. It was just in a much less efficient manner. And that does add up quite a lot of time in the long run.
Yeah, well, he's 10 minutes ahead now. I'd say it's at least another 10 to finish GT and climb the tower, so probably 10 to 15 more to finish up at this point.
What else spots will haunt you? Haunt your dreams. Whoops. Oh gosh. I hate this roller room, by the way.
Yeah, that room can be pretty swag if you get the keys and the invincibility frames. Ozzy, I don't know where Ozzy's going.
refilling their magic here. You don't actually have an invincibility item to make this laser bridge easier. I wonder if Ozzy will be opting to take the safety door just in case.
Well, he only has the 2 bottles. I missed whether he refilled them or what he still has left. A safety door would not be out of the question at all. He's doing the laser skips nicely.
Yeah, if you have perfect laser skips, I guess that's not really necessary.
And even taking 1 hit there doesn't do too much health. One thing to keep in mind, though, is Ozzy never picked up the powder. Well, sorry, that's in Ganon's tower, my mistake.
If he did pick up the powder at this point, I would want to know how. What are your tricks, Ozzy?
That would have been a major glitch. It's definitely possible to do the clip into Ganon's tower, but that is not allowed under the rules for this tournament.
Opting with these hammer strats as well. It does go a bit quicker. It's a little bit harder to hit, but if you practice this fight, then it's no biggie.
Yeah, you gotta be confident. I mean, not having the powder, not having the potions, coming in here with 4.5 hearts. Hammer Trinex is a difficult fight, and that was very nice execution. Fairly well executed. Oh.
Yikes. Oh.
A little bit aggressive there.
There we go.
That was a nice fight.
Yeah, and that's Ozzy's last boss, one GT now. Really curious if they're going to be checking that right side. I want to see tempered. This bridge is a little annoying with Master Sword because you basically just have to take the damage. You can't actually stop them.
Yeah, I like to hook shot them, and it kind of makes them go away, like back off a little bit.
Yeah, I guess you can dodge fireballs that way. I've seen some other races where runners will do that to preserve health, usually when they're going to Spike Cave. It's an option.
Does the mirror shield reflect those?
I think it blocks them. I believe that's true. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case. Man. Ozzy does not like the right side either. I mean, this is the right decision because the big key's on the left side. I'll get the
well, let's just pretend there was a sword over there and they both missed it.
Alright. At least we have a fully upgraded shield.
Well, it does make the mimics slightly easier.
Yeah, it's actually not completely useless, even in GT. How many items can you say that for? Not many.
Flippers are kind of useless in GT.
A little bit. I'm not sure if there's like a swimming pool in here or somewhere, but I've never found it.
I was trying to picture like Ganon doing like water aerobics or something.
Do you think he would be that big if he worked out? No way. Maybe it's all muscle. I'm just being. Maybe I'm just being rude to Ganon, but
yeah, don't body shame Ganon.
I mean, I probably wouldn't live through as many silver arrows as he does, so I can't really be talking.
Yeah, pigs are supposed to be bulky.
Like how there's bombs right before the rando room. Just in case you need them. Very kind. And there we go. Now we're just GT climb away. Even got the powder, that's real nice.
Yes, I forgot where the powder was.
Powder's another one of those items that's not actually completely useless when you find in GT. It's actually really good because there's so many antivirus along the way, and you're probably going to be taking some damage in GT unless your execution is godly.
Especially right before Moldorm 2, there's the two, well, one anti-fairy and one bunny beam, but there's two fairies there. Basically means you're walking into that fight at full health and full magic.
Yeah, that's the dream right there. If only every room could be like that.
If you get the powder, I mean, powder is my favorite item in general. Especially in almost every Dark World dungeon, you kind of have infinite health once you get the powder.
Yeah, it's definitely the best safety item overall, I would say. Like, potions are nice, but potions can only be used once. You can use the powder repeatedly. It rivals males and like the usefulness that it has over the course of the game.
I would rather have the powder than potions, definitely.
Yeah.
Ozzy's really taking advantage of that half magic, just going wild with these fire rod shots.
I mean, if you got it, might as well flaunt it. Got silver arrows for them, but we don't need the fire rod for them.
You gotta save enough for the whiz robes and the torches at least. Here's the lamp, so he's gonna be fine on that.
Yeah, there's a small magic there. I wonder what the stun prize is. It's always nice if stun prize is magic and you're in GT. Then you don't gotta worry about anything.
I was doing a race last night, and I didn't notice that the player was stunning the enemies. I just saw, like, every other enemy dropping full magic pots. Like, what the heck is up with this prize pool? And it was the stun prize.
I've seen full magics come out of the Vitreous eyeballs. I'm not sure if that still happens or if that was a bug, but I've seen it. It was very weird.
You can stun those?
I don't think you can stun them, but I saw somebody kill one of Vitreous's tiny eyes, and a full magic dropped. I don't know how that happened, but it happened.
I didn't even know they could drop items. That is really weird.
I don't know if they're supposed to. I don't know if that was a glitch. Because Link to the Past is a very well programmed game, so we assume everything's intentional.
I'd like to see that. Maybe it was a stun prize and there was some weird way you could temporarily stun it for like a frame or something like that.
No idea. But Ozzy is coming up on this Moldorm 2 fight.
It has the net, so you could capture it. Oh, there we go.
Nope.
Missed it though. Stupid fairy suicided.
Oh my gosh, these fairies don't cooperate. They don't like being put in jars. Even that's like where they're most useful. The bees, on the other hand.
Yeah. Yeah, bees, they run to the net.
Please, Master Link, take me. Let me join your fight.
Let me join in your fight. Or let me sting you later when you're not looking.
I tell you, I've never had a companion more loyal in this game than a bee. Alright, well, Ozzy, happy birthday, because Aghanim, he's got you covered.
Yeah, this is kind of your dream aga. Ooh,
Oh man.
triple's dead.
Alright, well that was a triple beast. That was the harder pattern for it too, so...
How is this phase 4?
I think they hit too soon together, so it didn't count. Yeah, there we go.
So so at least one empty bottle because he was going for that fairy. 2 empty bottles, then they'll have no safeties at all coming into this fight. I kind of wonder where the Kinaburna or the Cape were. We had no safety, no invincibility safeties.
I'm telling you, everything was on the right side. Sword, Cane of Burn, Magic Cape. Just waiting over there.
A blue potion.
Why not? Well, we still have the other bottle. It was, the hammer packs. But yeah, sure, why not? There's a blue potion over there too. There's just 5 bottles in the seat.
The rare 5th bottle.
That's the new quarter magic, right?
Exactly.
Alright, so far so good.
They have the progressive sword system where items will turn into other items. They could probably have like a progressive bottle system. You know, everything's a bottle until you pick up 4, then they become other things.
Yeah, why not? I played a rando ROM hack that had like more than 4 bottles, but some of them were just refills that would refill your bottle, which I thought was kind of neat, but probably too confusing for actual rando. We're on phase 3 here.
Yeah, I missed the spin there rather.
And then does not like to be poked.
So he's not going. Oh, he's going for torch glitch.
Yeah, maybe it was looking where Gano was going to teleport, and if it was right next to the torch, then alright, but...
Yeah, that's pretty hard to time with the fire rod. I mean, some people can do it consistently. That's a gamble.
Yeah. I mean, you just spray him free at that point, I think.
And that's number 4 for ozipone. Alright, 1 hour, 53 minutes, 22 seconds. GG's for ozipone, who is already in Twitch chat, apparently.
Yeah. Quite a difference from Kyong, but to be fair, Kyong got like a god route. Ozzy didn't really play badly. It's just the way they played the early game that really cost them. If we can get him in an interview, we'll talk about that in more detail. Not sure if they're going to be joining us.
Well, he was hanging out in Twitch chat, so he's keeping an eye on the race. I'll just have to give him a minute, get the ping. Oh, no microphone. So not joined by ozipone for the interview, so I guess that will conclude our race then.
Yeah, and I guess that will conclude our time here. And if you guys want to be the interviewers, Ozzy is in chat. Get your questions now. It's a rare opportunity.
All right. Well, then, on that note, I will go ahead and wrap things up and thank both of the runners for joining us and putting on the show. We were able to get them a last-minute restream, and it was absolutely fun to watch. Links are in Twitch chat to follow both Kyong and ozipone. Taking a look at the schedule, we have a race that started 20 minutes ago on Speed Gaming 2. That's the first race between Hexmage and Farame. And in half an hour, we have a race on this very channel, Speed Gaming 5, between Meekin and Spoody Biscuit. Got a couple other really hype races coming up. Speed Gaming 3 at 6:30 EDT, 1 hour, is the second race between Jet082 and Yagamoth, one that I'm particularly hyped to watch. And a special note that at 7:30 we have quite a bit of action going on ALTT Randomizer tonight, and I get to introduce this. We have 6 Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 5, and we now have 5 ALTT Randomizer channels. This will be our premiere race on ALTT Randomizer 5 at 7:30 p.m. EDT between TGH and Gesellschaft. This will be their first race, so first race between them and the first race on ALTT Randomizer 5. So I encourage you guys to make sure you add that to your list of channels that you follow, and pick from any of the hype matches for this evening. And so wrap things up by thanking our tracker Cassidy for keeping us honest, the Speed Gaming Network for hosting this restream, and Male for the honor of co-commentating. Last words go to you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I enjoy the slots. These are a lot of fun, and maybe we could do it again sometime. With how much you sign up, I would say it's quite possible. But yeah, thank you guys all for coming out, and thank you both Kyong and ozipone for putting on the race for us. And we'll catch you next time.